Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Ipswich Central Redevelopment Committee, this third one for 2024. I note that all councillors are in attendance. There are no apologies. I'll begin with the acknowledgement of country. Ipswich City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners as custodians of the land and waters we share. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging as the keepers of the traditions, customs, cultures and stories of proud people. Do any committee members have any declarations of interest in matters on the agenda today? No? We have nil business outstanding, so we move on to item number 1, which is confirmation of the minutes of the Ipswich Central Redevelopment Committee from the 1st of February 2022. The recommendation is that the minutes from the Redevelopment Committee held on 1st of February be confirmed. I will move that. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Milligan. Do any members have any comments, corrections, errors to point out? No? There's no further discussion. We'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour? That's unanimous and carried. Moving along to item number 2 on the agenda, which is the first of the officers' reports. That is the Developing the Cultural Heart Community Engagement report undertaken between Monday 4th of December 2023 and the 29th of January 24 in relation to Ipswich Central revitalisation. Could I ask the relevant council officer to come forward, please?
Good afternoon, Erin Marchant, Place Manager for the Ipswich Central Revitalisation.
Thank you, Ms Marchant. Can I ask you to give us a bit of a recap for the last 12 months, the initiatives and incentives that have been in place as we redevelop and revitalise Ipswich Central and provide that critical support to existing businesses?
Absolutely. So this project came from the place plans, which actually was back in 2021. Council endorsed those place plans. And this project was one that came from the community. They wanted to really see us take all of our cultural assets and really embrace them more than we have. And so starting with this project, we looked at the cultural spine. That includes the Darcy Doyle Place, down through to the Civic Centre and up through to Roderick Street, also supporting the Westmoreton Health redevelopment. There's a really good opportunity of restaurants and businesses that are alongside the development, and it was seen as a real opportunity for council to get involved and make this a more utilised space than it currently is. So through the last 8 weeks, we have spent a considerable amount of time engaging with the community on this project. It's a very exciting one, and it's been great to hear the conversations and what people's aspirations are. We've done the community panel session, which was really well attended, and we got some great ideas from that. We did 4 face-to-face pop-up sessions outside each of the cultural assets in the cultural heart. So the Civic Centre, the Community Gallery, the Art Gallery, and Darcy Doyle Place itself. And then we've also opened that up to online as well. So we've really tried to reach a broad range of the community because we know that it's not just the people who are in Ipswich Central that use this space, but people from all areas across the LGA. Over this 8-week period, we've had 242 responses and contributions across the engagement. And there's been some really high-level themes which we can really lends itself to our climate. So a lot around greenery and shade, but also really wanting to embrace those cultural assets and making them the star of the show, bringing them to the forefront so people can easily access them and also be able to visit more than one location. We know in placemaking it's about the power of 10, having 10 places to visit or 10 things to do in a space, and this is very much what we heard from the community during that time. I think the engagement report sort of talks a little bit more into detail, but we did see some strong, I guess, again, people coming here with their family. Obviously, the Ipswich Art Gallery being very much the star of the show and supporting businesses with the Civic Centre and food and dining. We've found that the fairy lights, which are already underway in Ipswich Central, are a very popular element, and that came through again through engagement. Shade and greenery, arbours and trees, obviously very much forefront of mind, and really tapping into the space being flexible to allow for events and artworks and pop-up activities, plus musical performances. We found out that even though there's not even though we're in the art gallery space, still people want to see more sculptures and artwork in the spaces, and that really the gardens and the planting is really, really important to the community. So really that very strong greening element, which, you know, will take this community feedback and be able to input into the preliminary concept design.
Thank you, Ms Marchant. The report notes on page 12, the Ipswich City Walkability Study, which you've touched on, we know there is a lot of research and data on the benefits and importance of walkability, including economic data, when we talk about revitalising a city centre, that it is critical for the success going forward. We've done some work with the Queensland Government architect on that, is that correct?
That's correct. So we were part of a pilot program called Healthy Places, Healthy People, and it is all about improving the walkability in Ipswich Central. And so we have worked with them on the project, and obviously that through that project there was 4 areas identified, and the cultural heart being one of those areas that walkability needed to be improved. We know with walkability that if we can make it easy to walk around, we do get the economic benefits in our businesses. So it's parking in one location and then being able to stroll around the city is really what's going to help us from an economics point of view.
Yep, great, thank you. Any other questions for Ms Marchant? No, thank you. The recommendation is that the report concerning community engagement in relation to Ipswich Central revitalisation, developing the Cultural Heart project be received and the contents noted. Could I have a mover, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Milligan. And a seconder? Thank you, Mayor Harding. Now open up for discussion? No? Just like to take the opportunity to thank the council officers, including Ms Marchant, for the enormous amount of work that's been done, I guess, within the Ipswich Central revitalisation. The work has been critical not only to, you know, support what we're doing here for the Nicholas Street precinct, but it's really important for the existing businesses in the various precincts throughout Ipswich Central, including downtown, top of town, right through to the Ipswich Hospital and Courthouse precincts. So, and there's been some great initiatives over the last few years. I'm really proud of us as a council to have delivered on that support for small businesses. We've seen the facade improvement program. We've seen this council waive outdoor dining permit fees to encourage and activate outdoor dining. And yes, thank you for the team for always coming up with really creative but also informed ideas and solutions to support our community of small businesses. There's nothing further? No? We'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour? Looking around the room, that's unanimous and carried. Moving on to item 3, which is a report concerning the February 2024 Retail Sub-Project Steering Committee meeting, focusing on the state of the leasing program and associated developments within the retail component of the Nicholas Street Precinct redevelopment. Could I call on the relevant council officer to come forward, please? Thank you. Thank you, Mr Hepburn. If I may, could I just get a brief update on the status of the leasing program, our final status update for this last committee?
Yes, of course. Good afternoon, Chair, Mayor, councillors. Leasing has gone well over the course of the last couple of months. We've seen a number of approvals come through this committee and council that have led into the legal negotiations. Obviously, I can't mention the names of those tenants as they're commercial in confidence, but we're seeing some of those legals progress well. We have currently 4 deals that are working their way through solicitors. a couple of which we hope to bring to fruition in the next couple of weeks. Those deals, to remind everyone, relate to the large space underneath the Hoyt Cinema, which we refer to as MM1, which is 2,700 square metres, and then to the restaurant space on the front of the venue building, which we refer to as T1. The other two spaces are T2 within the Eats building, and then the small kiosk tenancy adjacent to Gelatissimo. We have recently undertaken a strategy day with Colliers to reset ourselves for this year. We're also very much aware now that we are building up to an opening window that sits most of the precinct between sort of September and Christmas later this year. So there's a big opportunity now for us to push the brand within the industry and really seek those final tenants to complete the mix.
If we assume, around September or later this year, we will see the long-awaited opening potentially of the cinema as well as the Commonwealth Hotel, you're suggesting then that off the back of that's drawing close, that we will see an increase in interest from other prospective tenants who will join in that important opening time?
I think a big milestone that we've just recently passed is that Hoyts have appointed their fit-out contractor. And that contractor is Uniter. They are a national fit-out contractor based actually in the Gabba in Brisbane. They've undertaken a number of Hoyts fit-outs over the last few years, so very experienced in that space. Mm-hmm. So we now know that we're closely edging to that moment when Hutchies will practically complete. There's been some delays there just due to weather, but that's still within our opening windows, and then Hoyts will certainly take over and they will be revved up to go for an opening.
Okay. And just finally, when we think about, I guess, the other assets that Council owns around Nicholas Street precinct, those that haven't been in scope for development by Council and, eventually will be taken to the market, what does that piece of work look like? How long is that likely to take? When will we move to those next steps?
So our current focus within the Nicholas Street team is taking a number of assets through to opening and then building confidence and sales within those existing tenancies within Tomwell Walk, the Eats, and then obviously with the venue Hoyt Cinema building later this year. But as you refer, there are a number of other assets that sit within that portfolio. Some of them aren't at the beginning of their life. Some of them are coming towards the end of their life. And there will be a role for us to assess those assets and to look at what that means to the precinct and what that means to our investment case over the course of this year.
Can I get an example of what that might look like? There is a lot of discussion in the community about residential high density, high rise. Do you think we have some of those sites that we can specifically target to residential developers?
I think that probably a question more for the planners. Mm-hmm. I think we have within the Metro A, perhaps 5 years hence, the 143 Brisbane Street asset and the land across a railway line on Ellenborough Road. We have some fantastic development opportunities. Some really leading development sites that are under one ownership with limited tenure problems. Mm-hmm. Those aren't often found in city centres, unless, perhaps throughout most of South East Queensland. So with the momentum we've got and the catalytic nature that Council has undertaken recently to invest into its city centre, I think we should see some bright things coming out of those sites. But as it stands, the actual use types right now is probably a bit hard to say. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
The recommendation is that the February 2024 Retail Sub-Project Steering Committee report be received and the contents noted. Could I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Kunzelman, and a seconder. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Milligan. Now open up for discussion.
The main thing I was wondering is where those leases are at, but Mr Hepburn has given us an update that I think residents will be just as excited as us when we see those leases signed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what they'll be offering the people of Ipswich.
Very excited and delighted to see the brands that we're attracting here, something we haven't done before. So really excited when we're finally in a position to be able to announce those big brands. Any further discussion? No? We'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour? Noting that's unanimous and carried. We have nil notices of motion, no matters arising. However, if I may take the opportunity to thank my Deputy Chair, Councillor Kunzelman. You've only been in the Deputy Chair for a short while. However, you have been a dedicated member of this committee from the outset, and you have attended all meetings. Your support has, for me personally, been critical to my success, you know, in this role. Your support is invaluable. Your governance experience and your attention to detail is amazing. And I just want to thank you, Kate. Okay, I think that draws us to a close. I will close the meeting at 12:16 p.m.